everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode of Laid Off and Traveling. Excuse my appearance, but I've been working out a lot lately, getting my buff on, and I may have overdone it. I don't know what y'all think, but I just had to. I felt a little scrawny, so I hit the gym hard, and I maybe have overdone it, but I think I look fairly decent. Yeah. Anyway, this is the sixth episode of Laid Off and Traveling. And in this episode, I went to Providence, Rhode Island. That's where Brown University is located. It's also the capital of Rhode Island. And before I say anything else about it, I absolutely would live here. And so far, that would be the number one choice of all the places that I visited of where I want to live. And I'm going to tell you why. Yeah, so Rhode Island was founded in 1636 and Brown 1764, and of course the United States in 1776. So you all know Providence, which is in Rhode Island, was part of the original 13 colonies. So founded way before the United States. And Brown, being the seventh oldest university in the country, was founded almost 12 years before the country. I just always find that amazing that we have universities and institutions here well before the country was even founded. Now, the city of Providence, it grew from a colonial settlement into like a trade and industry, and they had a wave of immigrations like the Italians and the Portuguese and the Irish, and then later you had the Latin Americans that came in, and then the African community came in, or the African American community came in, and they started to shape it and bring in their cuisine, which makes Providence one of the best cuisine cities in the entire country. Also, Providence flourished in the 19th century as an industrial hub and later reinvented itself as a center of arts, food, and education. And of course, Brown University evolved into an Ivy League institution known for its open curriculum and intellectual vitality. The city and the university actually just kind of grew in tandem with Brown academic influence and Providence cultural diversity, continuing to reinforce each other, and it kind of defined the unique character and history of this fantastic city. So, culture and demographics of Providence, Rhode Island / Brown University. The population is about 190,000 people, and it's 49% female and 51% male, which to me is about even. The population is 34% white, 43% Latin. I don't think there's a place I went that had a larger Latin population or Hispanic population. Was 16% black, and then another 7% Asian. Also, the population is highly educated, and you wouldn't expect anything less when you consider the major universities that are there, like Brown and Rhode Island School of Design. And also, it is a very international place, of course, with all the universities. So you can get all the great cuisines, and you'll hear a lot of different languages spoken. So check it out if you like culture. So while I was in Providence, Rhode Island / Brown University, the weather was great. As you can see, the high was 84, but it was 79 degrees when I was there, and it got down to 60 at night, and that's fantastic, especially leaving the heat of Florida to come up there. If someone has the money and they're looking for a summer home but wants to stay in Florida for the winter, I think Providence, Rhode Island is a great place to stay. So tourism in Providence is great. It is quintessential New England. It has multicultural neighborhoods, and it has like a distinctive small city charm, but it's so compact with a lot of different opportunities. One of their distinctive districts is called Federal Hill. It's famous for its Italian dining, and then if you want to go down to the waterfront, it's famous for this iconic WaterFire event where bonfires illuminate in the rivers at night, which is really cool to see. Also, you have Rhode Island School of Design Museum. It adds like this artistic depth to the city, and it's a really cool museum. And also, in the heart of the city, you have Brown University, an Ivy League school, and in itself it's a major attraction. It's located at the top of a hill. I think they call that College Hill, and it has all these beautiful historic red brick buildings and this beautiful red brick gate that makes you feel welcoming just to walk through the university and explore. In addition, it has a lot of older homes that were built in the 18th and 19th century that gives you that quaint feel of being in New England where everything seems close and it just wraps around you like a warm blanket. The interesting thing about traveling is every city that you go to really has their kind of own unique cuisine, and Providence, Rhode Island is no different. They have all of the national chains and all of the, Asian food and European food and African food. They had all of that, but they have their own unique cuisine. Also, what you're looking at in this photo is what they call their clear broth Rhode Island clam chowder. Um, it is a lot of other places. The clam chowder could be dark or red color, I should say, but they're known for their clear broth clam chowder that is, obviously it's highlighted with clams in it, but it also has potatoes in it. And I will tell you, this is delicious. I like it better than the clam chowder that has the red or the one that has like the creaminess to it. This one is kind of my more cup of tea. In addition, they have an item called stuffies, and it's basically like a stuffed quahog. And I didn't even know what a quahog is. I heard it a lot on Family Guy, but I wasn't sure what that was. But it's basically like large clams stuffed with breadcrumbs and chopped quahogs, which are clams. Quahog is really just a clam, and it has herbs in it, and sometimes they put sausage in it, and it's baked in the shell. And I'm gonna tell you, this is delicious, yummy, yummy, yummy. Something else they're known for is their what they call their hot wiener. It's like a regional hot dog specialty of Providence. It's served all kind of ways. Usually served with like a meat sauce, onions, mustard, and with some celery salt. I mean, to me, it almost sounds as good as a Chicago hot dog, but I still think I prefer Chicago hot dogs more. But I do like these hot wieners. And the last thing, which actually shocked the heck out of me, and I've never even heard of it before, but in Providence, it is a big deal. And they have this thing called coffee milk. It's the official state drink. It's milk mixed with sweetened coffee syrup. I didn't even know coffee syrup was a thing, but in Rhode Island, it is a big deal. It is something that is quintessential Rhode Island. That is a staple of the state. And I be honest with you, I did not try it. The idea of having something called coffee milk, I don't think it would have went well with my stomach. But if I go back to Providence, Rhode Island, which I definitely will, I'm gonna try this coffee milk, and I'll let you guys know in another video. But that wraps up the food of Providence, Rhode Island, and their food scene there is awesome. Okay, so this is a new report card. So we've added Providence, Rhode Island, which is now the fifth city that I visited. But if you see, you'll see six cities on here because I included Tampa, where I reside. And as you can see, Raleigh is still ranked number one in education. Baltimore is still ranked number one in diversity. And when a city tends to be ranked number one in education, they'll usually be ranked number one in job market. Yale University will still rank number one in food, followed by Baltimore being a strong number two. Walkability, we have a new number one, and that's Providence, Rhode Island. It is definitely a compact, very walkable city, which I enjoy thoroughly, and I would easily live there if I didn't live in Tampa. And the final thing, stuff to do, Baltimore is still ranked number one in that category. So when you add all these up, Baltimore is still ranked the highest with the GG score. It slipped a little bit, but it's still ranked number one. Tied for number two are Yale and Providence. Go figure, two Ivy League cities tying. It makes a lot of sense. Tampa coming up in fourth, with Raleigh right behind, and then followed by Savannah. So the question again is, of all these places, where would I want to live? I would. The new number one for me definitely is Providence, Rhode Island, and Raleigh would be like a very strong number two in that. So I recommend, if Providence, Rhode Island has never been on your radar to visit, I highly recommend you visit, but make sure it's in the spring and summer and early fall because the winters there, from what I understand, can get very, very brutal. Okay, so these are my final thoughts on Providence, Rhode Island slash Brown University. So, as I told you earlier, it's definitely the number one place I would want to live, other than Tampa, of the places that I visited. But before I tell you why, let me give you some cons first. So there are some three cons you need to be aware of. It does have cold winters, so if you don't want to ever deal with cold again, that's probably not the place for you. Um, while the housing is cheaper than Boston and New York, the housing is relatively high. So that could be a sticker shock to persons if they were to move there. And the third con and last con is that if you come from a state with no income taxes, like a Florida or Texas, it could be a shock to know that you have to pay taxes with the money that you make. So those are some of the three cons. But in my opinion, the pros outweigh the cons tremendously. One, it has a rich cultural diversity. It has a strong Italian community, a strong Portuguese community, a strong Cape Verde community, as well as it has a strong Latin, a strong Black. It is a cultural melting pot, which means that you're going to have fantastic food and fantastic festivals. Also, they have a strong arts and food scene. They have this big festival called the WaterFire Festival, and it's exactly what it sounds. They actually are lighting fire and water, but there's a huge festival around that. I think that is kind of cool. In addition, they are a strong educational hub with Brown University, an Ivy League school being there. Of course, the education is going to be strong, but they also have Providence College. They also have Rhode Island School of Design, and they also have Johnson Wells. So they have a lot of education in a very small area. In addition, it is very walkable and accessible. You can walk everywhere. There's bike lanes everywhere, and they have the Amtrak that comes through. So you're only like an hour from Boston on the Amtrak, and you're only like 3 hours from New York just taking the train. So you don't even really need a car to get around to the major cities. Also, the cost of living is relatively low when you compare it to the surrounding areas like Boston and New York. It's a much cheaper place to live. And the last, and to me, one of the most important reasons to live there is proximity to nature. So you're very close to the beaches of Rhode Island, but you're also very close to all the nature that New England provides. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And the last thing I want to say, it passed the feel-good test, if you will. You know, being a minority but highly educated, it felt comfortable being there. It just felt like everything I wish I could have in Tampa, except, the cold weather that they would get in the wintertime, and, you know, some of the politics. So, but anyway, that's my take on Providence, Rhode Island slash Brown University. And I just want to remind you, if you are going through anything in your life and you are struggling, I found that getting on the road and going for a drive for the, almost 2 weeks that I did it, it really helped me. And listening to self-help books to keep my confidence up, to help me refocus, it helped me. So if it helped me, and I'm no one special, I'm sure it would help you if you decide to do that. Thank you for your support, and please comment, because I want to know if I'm making good videos or not. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.